Welcome to the Tesla Power Podcast. I'm Aaron Brady, your unofficial Tesla Energy community organizer, with the goal of getting educated on solar panels, solar roof, and Powerwall for your home. Today, let's talk about signed contracts before the price increase. Let's talk about why you would use the Go Off Grid button. Let's talk about how long you have to wait from order to install of the solar roof. And lastly, let's talk about vents. Cut them off. Let's do it. We have excellent feedback from the community this episode. Don't forget that you can join the conversation, help others get some help for yourself. You can do that by commenting below, or you can email teslapowerpodcast@gmail.com, or you can call the line 203-816-5150, and we will move straight into questions. The first comment comes from Jerome regarding the price increase. Let's bring up his comment. Quote, "Thanks, FYI, thanks to a class action lawsuit, Tesla is now reverted to the original price on solar roofs with contracts signed prior to the price hike in April of 2021. End quote. Jerome, this is freaking great news for anybody on the early adoption train. We were very close to being victims of this ourselves, and I'm thrilled to hear that Tesla's going to honor these contracts. We should, I think, expect that wait times are going to go, way up, and this is something we'll probably talk about more in the news segment. But this is big news. I want to start off with that comment. Next up, we've got a comment from Frosty GT. He sets me straight on the Go Off Grid button. Quote, "Off Grid is very useful. You won't pull from utility and pay them. It manages batteries better, especially if you don't have PTO yet like me. In grid mode, it'll draw from grid to fast charge your car at rate you set in the car. Off grid mode, it will throttle the car charging and match solar production with batteries to make up the difference. It will not pull from the grid." End quote. Okay, I get it. Since I also don't have PTO, perhaps I should engage off-grid? I don't know. I'm afraid if I do that, our requirement is so far beyond our system capabilities that it'll cause problems for our house and our appliances. I mean, what happens in off-grid mode when when we no longer produce solar, the batteries run out? I'm thinking apocalypse, or at least a bunch of spoiled food and an angry creative director wife. I'm not quite sure this is the right option for me, but I don't know. I should give it a fair shot and see how it goes. Checking out the next comment. This one comes from 392 Life. They commented on episode 19. Quote, "How long before I get 2 Powerwall 2 Plus if I order in Texas this week? I'm told 2 to 4 months." End quote. Now, frankly, I don't know if anyone really knows. But I have 2 thoughts for you. Number one, you can't get any Powerwalls without solar. So the question is, does your order include solar panels or solar roof? And then number 2, with Tesla now honoring contracts signed before April, I expect the wait time just went up significantly. So if I were a betting man, I would bet In-N-Out Burger on Ryan McCaffrey that you won't get your order before Q2 of 2022. Now, do we have any viewers watching this video in Texas that have placed their orders this year, 2021, and have already received their install? Leave a comment below. We would love to be able to gauge how long this order might take for this viewer. But thank you, 392 Life, for the question, and let's see if we can get the community to get us some help. The next bit, this one comes in by email. Joe Brisbane, he emailed a question on regulations in the Bay Area. Quote, "Tesla has recently started installing Tesla backup switches. I live in San Jose, California, with PG&E as my electric provider. Do you know if PG&E is currently allowing the install of the backup switch? If yes, where?" End quote. Now, Joe, thank you for emailing your question. In episode 15, we did talk about the meter-mounted transfer switches. This is a type of backup switch, of course, and it might be exactly what you're asking about. You're very wise, in fact, to check to make sure it's approved for your service area, as it's been a point of pain for Paul Edgeman in Washington State. Now, you'll see that he was given a meter-mounted transfer switch by Tesla and is now stuck in approval purgatory. Ultimately, I expect Tesla is going to have to remove it and install a gateway instead. Really painful, not just for Tesla, but also for Paul. But let's check out the PG&E site to see if there's anything noted on transfer or backup switches. So let me pull that up. You can see here the PG&E website. They have a full page dedicated to double pole, double throw transfer switches. I expect, though, that the absence of a meter-mounted transfer switch being called out explicitly probably means it is not approved as a device. But just to make sure, let's go to the San Jose municipal site to see if they note anything about backup switches. They've got a PDF on their site. Here's what we can see. It's a bulletin published in June 17th of this year, 2021, that covers switching to a standby generator. And if we scroll down to the bottom of it, it notes down, let's see, I missed it. Yeah, transfer switch must be a listed switch. Oh, I missed the bit that I was trying to note here, up here. So note, hardwired generators, transfer switches, let's take it full screen. They're to be used only during public safety power shutoffs or wide area outages. And quote, I'd say this is pretty encouraging. Further down, they have a list of requirements, and that's what I was pointing out earlier. You'll see here the transfer switch must be a listed device specifically, end quote. Now, this listing refers to UL listing. UL stands for Underwriters Laboratories and is a safety certification that's granted by an independent test protocol. This specific line in the bulletin, though, means you are welcome to use a backup switch, or as they're referred to here, a transfer switch in your service area. So you'll also see that they reprint the following requirement from PG&E. Let me bring that back up. Way here at the bottom. Ensure electricity from your generator does not flow or backfeed into PG&E's power lines. Call PG&E. It goes on to say how to contact them if you have any questions. Of course, this is what a transfer switch does, right? It fully disconnects you from the grid, so your only connection is between the generator, in this case your battery, and your home electrical system. Now, I did find something else that would be interesting. Let me pull that up here. There's an article link in the show notes below on this Consumer Reports breakdown on transfer switches and an alternative, the interlock device. As we saw in episode 15, Tesla prefers the meter-mounted transfer switches, and I would expect that to be the unit that they install for you. And our last question. This one is also from Jerome King. He dropped a tidbit during a conversation we were having in episode 21. Let me bring it full screen. Quote, another interesting tidbit. We had 2 venting pipes on the roof for the toilets in the bathrooms. Well, Tesla offered to cut them off, flush with the decking. They installed some sort of mesh to cover the hole and placed the tiles on top of it. Because the tiles are vented, it doesn't interfere with the vents. This allowed more solar tiles to be added instead of having to work around the venting pipes. End quote. Man, I mean, more super interesting stuff. I can't tell if this is brilliant or crazy or both. I mean, I definitely see how it's awesome from a solar capacity standpoint. I mean, that's 13 more watts per tile that you could install that you couldn't install before because you had to work around it. It's also a huge win for parts, labor, efficiency. No special flashing, no vent cover for the vent covers, and there's no time wasted fitting them. All of that kind of stuff. But I mean, personally, I don't mind the look of the vents. I think they did a good job, but if they're not needed, sure, cut them off. Any roofers or contractors that are watching that would be cool with this, are there any concerns that might be introduced by this? Anyway, comment, email, call, we need to get educated on this. It seems pretty cool. Jerome did also email some photos in for us. Let me pull those up. His place looks beautiful with this new roof, by the way. He sent us some before and after photos for comparison. So these are the before photos here. Let me bring it full screen. So you can see he's got a beautiful home there with that chimney and the nice roof there. Nice backyard area. If we step through this, we'll see in later photos that these trees were removed. Ooh, yeah, there's a good shot right in the front. And then here is the new roof. It's a little bit darker here, but I have to say that the darker roof, not just that it's a darker photo, but the darker roof really pops. And of course, on the back, we don't see any vents. This is beautiful. We've got some great close-ups that he gave us too. So there's a front hero shot. Really looks nice. Look at that good texture on the roof. Even the side panels have the texture. Really, I'm a little bit jealous because mine are smooth there on the edge. So as we get closer here, he shows some of the vents down here. I think there's one more shot that's a little closer. Yeah, there we go. So that's the venting below the solar glass and the regular glass tiles. The roof doesn't look too thick or out of sorts in any way, I would say. Honestly, I would say that it looks better than other installs I've seen because there aren't any vents to break up the tiles in the back. I mean, Jerome, huge congrats. Huge thanks for sharing. I mean, let us know. Yes, let us know how much production you're getting. It would be interesting to know how much that roof produces as a whole. Ours is 13.5 kilowatts. Based on what I see in the photos, yours is probably pretty close to the same size, maybe a little bit bigger. But thanks again for sharing the photos. Really awesome. And I want to say thanks to everyone that's been participating. This show is so much better with your input. And I, not least of all, am learning a ton. So just to review, you can get involved by commenting below. You can call 203-815-5150, or you can email teslapowerpodcast@gmail.com. It is song siesta time. We will come back and we will cover some news. All right, Jerome had noted in the comments that the price hikes would be reversed for some customers. Now, CNBC reports on the details. Quote, scrolling down just a bit. In a Thursday filing, customers' attorneys wrote, Tesla informed counsel for plaintiffs that Tesla had recently launched a program for customers who signed solar roof contracts before the April 12, 2021 price changes to return those customers to their original pricing if they were subject to a price increase in April 2021, end quote. Now, they go on to note that nothing could be found on the Tesla website, so I would expect that anyone in the plaintiff class would receive direct communication from Tesla via the Tesla app or via email. You might remember that Tesla was offering free Powerwalls to those that were affected by the price increase, and that may be along the lines of what this program really is. If it were me, I'd be looking for Tesla to simply reinstate my contract and get their asses to my house to start the install. But I don't have a lot of confidence that that's what this means. I think those that had a signed contract, they're not necessarily going to be made whole, or, that those, I don't think those previous contracts are going to necessarily be reinstated as is. In my contract, let me pull that up. I'll just take it full screen here. There's not a lot noted in as far as what Tesla's responsibilities are. They do continue to note what the customer responsibilities are. But if you scroll down to the pricing portion, so here's the pricing bit. And then right after that, they have the note that the install would be 180 days, or would be within 180 days, which doesn't often happen, by the way. And if you look even further into pricing, you can see that Tesla has the right to update the price sheet and submit for customer approval. So let's scroll down to that bit. That's in the fine print here. So contract price number 2. We will update the price sheet if we're required to change any details due to unforeseen circumstances or causes a change, or if anything causes a change to the solar portion of your solar roof, including the unavailability or change in value of any incentive payable to Tesla, which Tesla assumed in setting the contract price to you. And if any of these changes negatively impact you, e.g. your contract price increases or your solar system size or output decreases, we'll give you the opportunity to accept or reject the updated price sheet prior to installation of your products. If you accept that updated price sheet, it will supersede this agreement. If you do not accept that updated price sheet, this agreement will terminate and we will refund your order payment, end quote. So I think this probably means Tesla will try to show the value rather than simply returning to the previous pricing, because that old contract is now null and they don't want to have the legal slipperiness of reinstating those, because if any other contracts had to change for any reason, then they would then be open to litigation on those fronts. So that's why I think this is a program, and they are, simply, honestly, there's probably simply some installations they can't afford to do. So they can't go back on their pricing. Let's look at the next one. Next one up, we have this article. It's a report of the first Tesla solar roof in the great state of Hawaii. Quote, the first Tesla roof in the state has been installed in Kauai, introducing a new option for homeowners who want clean energy without sacrificing style. Tesla's product resembles shingles, unlike familiar solar panels, which mount to existing traditional roofing and are relatively conspicuous. End quote. I've been pretty excited about the solar roof's prospects. Of course, we put one on our home. And for anyone looking to add to the aesthetic value of their home, you're just hard-pressed to find anything similar. The simple truth, honestly, now is that solar is becoming so cheap to install that it should be a part of any new roof on any new building. We just need to get over the aesthetic objections. And, I think this is the right direction to go to remedy. We've got to get the prices down, of course. But sadly, in this article, let's bring that back up, they only have this one photo, of the installation. I'd say it looks good if I take it full screen so you can see it a little bit better. It looks good, but there's no harm in getting a few more angles, right? Anyway, it's really great to see that it's making its way out to the middle of the ocean, of course. And then the next one up, or the last one for today, we have the updated Tesla referral program, or cancellation thereof. Inside EV reports, quote, Tesla has announced the end of the referral program for electric vehicles and solar panels as of September 18th, 2021. It continues down here. The change is applied globally, according to the referral program webpage. The only product that is still getting referrals is the Tesla solar roof, $500 per referral, end quote. Clearly, those other business segments are doing great. Of course, the only reason to institute a referral program is to increase demand. So we can guess that, what that means for the solar roof. I had purported back when there was the price increase that Tesla would have more demand for the solar roof than they could meet for years to come. But I got to say, this referral program seems to indicate otherwise. It is possible that Tesla simply needs to maintain scale to keep the material cost in check. This is an argument, by the way, for my assertion that they should sell the glass-only roofs without solar. But it may also be driven by the Buffalo Gigafactory workforce requirements. They had negotiated terms with incentives offered to Solar City before the acquisition. Either way, getting that $500, you should get that $500 by using the referral code below. Hint, hint. And that's it for the news. Let's take another quick break. We will wrap it up with some more testing of the Go Off Grid button. So during our conversations in the comments, Frosty GT pointed out that the failover to off-grid is smoother after the first time it's done. Let's read his comment here. Let me take it full screen so you can see it a little bit better. So going back and forth will not flicker the lights once the system runs for a day. I wondered, but since first time, no flicker. Now, I trust, but I also verify. So let's verify by clicking the button. I'm going to pull up the app. Just got to make sure that my phone is not asleep when I do it. I'll just take another second. Because, of course, when it falls asleep, it unsyncs with the app that's running on the computer. So I see that it's back, but I don't see that it is showing in the application. So I'm just going to stall for a second, see if it catches up to us. And if not, then I will kill the application and we shall try it again. All right, just killed it, and let's relaunch it. This way you can follow along, because otherwise you're just going to be taking my word for it, right? It does have me choose between Android and iOS, and maybe that was what I had done wrong before, but I do now see it, which is great. So let's bring it on screen. All right, so we see the animation going through. I can now go into settings, and I can go down to go off grid. Let's press that button. What do you say? Your system is operating normally, but your system cannot go off grid because your power wall is full, or you have very high solar production. Attempting to go off grid now may cause your home to briefly lose power. Please wait for your power wall to discharge further or for less solar before trying again. All right, we'll try in the next episode. I'll make sure that it's later in the day so that we can get an idea of whether it's going to work or not. One thing I did want to share with you, though, is that the other day the Powerwall's thermal management system kicked on, and it freaked me out. It's so loud. I mean, it's loud compared to its normal silent operation, and I definitely wasn't prepared for it. I did get some video for you, though, so let me pull that up and bring it up now. You can hear the thermal management system blowing air. This is because it's pulling max power out of those batteries right now because we're charging our car. We're having to pump 10 kilowatts of energy out of these things. When it spun up, it was really loud. Kind of surprised me. Kind of scared me a little bit, if I'm going to be honest. So the video playback's a little shaky there, but it's only helpful if I compare it to normal operation, right? So I got a video of that too. Let me pull that up. Here's what it normally sounds like for comparison. Essentially silent. And you can hear that it's generally silent. But what do you think caused that thermal management system to kick on? Peak draw. So I got up to like 18 kilowatts for a minute before they dropped back down to the 10 kilowatt max power draw that they can sustain. And we started pulling from the grid at the same time. This was because both the car and the AC kicked on essentially in the same minute. So otherwise, things have been pretty chill with my system. You know, the creative director, wife, and I are considering options for electricity in the pool area for next summer. And since the roof has been pretty great, and since we know a lot more about solar, batteries, and all of their capabilities, we're looking at a separate solar and battery system for that area during the summer. So if that's something you're interested in hearing more about, let me know. Before we move on to that project, though, we need to get our gutters replaced. You might remember that Tesla removed our leaf covers when putting the solar roof on. You know, it's not a big deal since we needed to get them replaced anyway, but I'm really noticing now that the weeds are growing in the gutters, And by the time we get into the winter months, we could end up with some serious damage if we have like pooling water that ends up freezing. So good times. And now we have arrived at the end of episode 23 of the Tesla Power Podcast. I am really pleased with all of the questions and comments. Keep them coming. I'm your Tesla residential energy community organizer, Aaron Brady. Let's do this again in the next video.